Title: Waiter who insulted Big Shaq had no idea he owned the restaurant. Introduction with a powerful hook. Imagine being treated with disdain at your own restaurant. Now, multiply that by 100 when you're an international star. This is a story of how a simple waiter learned an unforgettable lesson that no one could predict. Stay until the end. You won't believe how it turned out. Setting the scene. It was a busy afternoon at Harbor Heights Grill in Miami, a restaurant renowned for its fresh seafood and sophisticated cocktails. The place attracted all kinds of customers, from everyday families to celebrities seeking a discreet spot to relax. But that day, no one was ready for the towering presence of a man over 7 feet tall, wearing dark sunglasses and a black cap. Big Shaq's arrival. Shaquille O'Neal, known in the basketball world as Big Shaq, walked in with a relaxed demeanor. Without making a fuss, he chose a table by the window. To him, this restaurant was more than just a dining destination. It was a personal and sentimental investment. He had secretly acquired a share of the establishment months earlier and loved visiting undercover to experience it like any regular customer. The uninformed waiter steps in. Jake Thompson, a confident yet impatient young waiter in his 3rd month on the job, had a flaw. He judged customers by appearances. Spotting Shaq sitting alone in casual attire, he assumed the man was just another difficult customer, unlikely to leave a tip. With an irritated expression, Jake approached the table and curtly asked, "What will it be? And please make it quick. We're packed today." Shaq raised an eyebrow, surprised by the lack of courtesy. Still, with his calm nature, he simply smiled. A menu would be a good start. Subtle insults begin. Jake muttered something inaudible as he grabbed a menu and slammed it onto the table. Nearby customers looked on uncomfortably, sensing the rising tension. Keeping his composure, Shaq placed his order. "I'll have a house special and a lemonade, please." Without missing a beat, Jake sarcastically replied, "You sure you can afford that?" The room fell silent. Nearby patrons widened their eyes in disbelief at the audacity of the remark. The awkward tension builds. "Let's find out," Shaq said, maintaining his calm demeanor. Throughout the service, Jake continued his subtle provocations, ignoring Shaq's additional requests and treating him impatiently whenever he returned to the table. Coworkers noticed his behavior, though none dared to intervene. The big reveal. After finishing his meal, Shaq requested the check. Jake brought it over with a disdainful look. As Shaq signed a receipt, he paused and calmly said to Jake, "Did you know that I own this restaurant?" Jake's face went pale as the room seemed to freeze in time. His mind raced in confusion and panic. "Owner? He must be joking," thought the young waiter, trying to maintain composure as his face betrayed his nervousness. The curious stares of other employees and patrons now locked onto the surreal scene unfolding. "You're joking, right?" Jake nervously laughed, trying to defuse the gravity of the moment. Shaq kept his calm smile, though his eyes glinted with a sharp awareness. "Do you think I'm joking?" He slid the signed receipt back to Jake, revealing his full name next to a generous tip. Jake stared at the paper as if it might explode. Shaquille O'Neal, owner. A public lesson learned. Before Jake could respond, the restaurant manager, Tom Henderson, rushed to the table, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. "Mr. O'Neal, please accept my apologies for Jake's behavior," Tom said, his voice slightly trembling. "We deeply value our customers and our partners," he added, trying to redeem the situation. Shaq raised a hand to stop him. "It's not about apologies, Tom. I came here today to see how things are running without anyone knowing who I was. And now I know exactly how some of your staff treat customers." The whole restaurant fell silent. Jake stood frozen, his face alternating between shame and embarrassment. Shaq's reflection. "Look, I understand that your job can be stressful. Customers can be difficult, and things don't always go as planned," Shaq said, his tone firm yet kind. "But respect is the foundation of any successful business, whether you're the owner, the server, or the customer." Jake swallowed hard, feeling the weight of Shaq's words. At that moment, he realized his behavior reflected poorly not just on himself, but also on the entire restaurant. The team's reaction. The other staff members observed in silence, some nodding in silent agreement with Shaq's words. It was clear that although Jake was new, his attitude had been creating discomfort among the team. "Jake, I'm not here to humiliate you," Shaq continued. "I'm here to show that we can all learn a lesson about how to treat others. A critical decision." Tom, the manager, nervously glanced at Shaq, awaiting instructions on how to handle the situation. "What do you suggest we do, Mr. O'Neill?" Tom asked, clearly worried about Jake's future with the team. Shaq looked directly at Jake. "I don't think firing you will solve the problem. Everyone deserves a chance to learn and improve," Shaq said with an encouraging smile. "But you need to show that you can do better." "Agreed." Jake, eyes glistening, quickly nodded. "Yes, sir. I promise to change." Redemption begins. In the days that followed, Jake adopted a new attitude at work. He treated customers with kindness and respect, leaving behind sarcasm and impatience. Coworkers began noticing the change, commenting on his more positive demeanor. Shaq continued visiting the restaurant discreetly, but now Jake knew exactly who he was and took every opportunity to demonstrate his progress. Lasting impact. The incident became a valuable lesson for the entire Harbor Heights Grill team. Over time, the restaurant gained even more popularity, not just for its exceptional food, but for its warm and respectful service. As for Jake, he became one of the most admired employees, acknowledging that his encounter with Shaq had changed his perspective on work, respect, and personal growth. Weeks later, Jake's transformation did not go unnoticed. Not only had he become an exemplary employee, but his positive attitude began influencing his colleagues. The atmosphere at Harbor Heights Grill felt lighter and more welcoming, earning constant praise from customers. A customer's praise. One afternoon, while Jake was organizing orders, an elderly customer approached with a gentle smile. "You must be Jake," she said softly. Jake paused, surprised. "Yes, that's me. How can I help you?" "I've heard about you, about how kind you've become and how you changed your attitude. I just wanted to say I admire your determination. Everyone deserves a second chance, and you made the most of yours." The compliment caught Jake off guard. A warm feeling spread through his chest as he thanked her sincerely. A surprise visitor. Days later, a special occasion brought excitement to the restaurant. Shaquille O'Neal announced a public visit to Harbor Heights Grill for a meeting with local press and business partners. The news spread quickly, drawing journalists and curious onlookers. Jake knew this was his perfect chance to show Shaq just how much he had learned. Though nervous, he meticulously prepared to ensure every customer's experience was flawless. The event unfolds. On the day of the visit, the restaurant was packed. The delicious aroma of specialty dishes filled the air, and camera flashes lit up the room. Shaq arrived surrounded by journalists, but made it a point to personally greet the staff before the press conference. When he approached Jake, Shaq extended a hand with a sincere smile. "Jake, how's it going?" he asked warmly. Jake shook his hand firmly. "Much better, sir. Thanks to what I learned from you." Shaq chuckled warmly. "You did this for yourself, Jake. I just gave you a little nudge, a new opportunity." During the press conference, Shaq made an announcement that caught everyone by surprise. Today is not just a celebration of the restaurant's success. It's also a celebration of personal and professional growth. I'm pleased to announce that Jake has been promoted to customer service supervisor here at Harbor Heights Grill. Applause filled the room. Jake, visibly emotional, received congratulations from both colleagues and customers. Jake's reflection. That night, as Jake closed the restaurant, he allowed himself a moment of reflection. He thought about his journey since the fateful day he insulted Shaq without knowing who he was. The lesson in humility and personal growth had transformed him not just into a better professional, but a more conscious and empathetic person. An extra surprise. Before leaving, Shaq called Jake for a private conversation. "Jake, you've learned an important lesson, and I want you to know that these experiences shape leaders. Keep this up, and great opportunities will come your way." Jake smiled, filled with gratitude. "Thank you, sir. I'll keep working hard." Shaq patted Jake on the shoulder. "I'm sure you will." Under his new role as supervisor, Jake took on greater responsibilities, managing the team and ensuring impeccable customer experiences. He became a mentor to new employees, using his own experience as a lesson in humility and growth. One day, while training a young waiter, Jake shared, "I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and it took a major lesson for me to understand what working with respect truly means. Never underestimate the importance of treating every customer like they're the most important one of the day." The team began to see him not just as a supervisor, but as an empathetic leader who encouraged collective growth. Community recognition. Jake's story of transformation and Shaq's involvement became known not only within the restaurant, but also in the broader community. A local magazine published an article about the lesson in humility that changed the restaurant's culture and inspired its team to excel. Customers began flocking to Harbor Heights Grill, not just for the delicious food, but for the welcoming atmosphere fostered by Jake and his team. A special visit. Months later, Shaq returned to the restaurant for an informal visit. Without media attention, he sat at the same table where it all began. Jake, now confident and composed, approached with a genuine smile. "Always a pleasure to see you here, Mr. O'Neill." "The usual?" he asked with a playful tone. Shaq chuckled. "Can you read minds now, Jake?" "Yeah, the house special and a lemonade." They both laughed, the atmosphere between them now defined by mutual respect and camaraderie. An unexpected proposal. After the meal, Shaq paused before leaving. "Jake, have you ever thought about starting your own business someday?" Jake blinked in surprise. "Honestly, I've never considered it. I've always focused on being the best I can be here." Shaq smiled. "That's great, but you have the potential for something bigger. When you're ready, come find me. I'd love to be your partner." Jake was speechless for a moment, absorbing the unexpected offer. "I don't know what to say. This means a lot to me." Shaq extended his hand. "Just think about it. You've already proven you have what it takes." An endless journey. Over time, Jake continued to excel in his career, inspiring others along the way. His encounter with Shaquille O'Neal not only transformed his professional life, but also redefined his sense of purpose. He began to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth, and every customer as a chance to make a difference. An inspirational conclusion. Sometimes, the most valuable lessons come from the moments we least expect. The humility to acknowledge our mistakes and the determination to improve are the true keys to success. Jake learned this the hard way, but his journey proves that with the right attitude, every mistake can become a golden opportunity.